We are going to discuss is decision trees. Decision trees are the simple way to guide from one path to the other path. That means that when, for example, if you are going to tell any story, whatever it may be, so finally the conclusion we are going to say whether it is right or wrong. That means that, for example, if you go for the bank loan applications of bank loan, so whether you're going to get the approved loan or not approved. That means that we will be getting only two things: whether you may get the loan approved or you may not get the loan approved. The decision trees are the simple way to guide one path to the other decision. The decision may be a simple binary one, whether to approve a loan or not, or it may be a complex multivariate decision. So it may be diagnosis for the particular sickness. That means that we will be forming with respect to the branch structure. So whenever we are going to form the branch structures, we are going to get the decision whether the decision is right or wrong. For example, you got an examination. If you will be knowing that if you are going to study, you will pass. If you are not going to study, you will fail. In the beginning of the case only, you will be knowing that whether I am going to pass in the subject or whether I am going to fail in the subject. If you put more hard work, if you are going to this one, so that you may get the good marks, all those things. Like that, in this particular case also, we will be having a sequence with the multiple branches, whether yes or no we will be getting. The decision trees are the one of the most widely used technique for the classifications. A good decision tree should be short and ask only for the meaningful questions. That means that many times I have given an example. For example, you are presenting a project demo, or you are going to present the seminar demo or internship demo. For each slide, if I'm going to ask the question, there is that is not a sense. That means that wherever if I have not understood the topic, I need to ask the question in that particular case. Simply for each slide asking the question is no use. Like that, in this what we are going to do, whenever we are going to perform the decision tree operation, we will be looking the solution in a shorter term, and it should be a meaningful question. So whenever you are going to ask the question, you should be able to know with respect to the knowledge with respect to that particular. For example, you will be going for an interview, so in the technical round they will be asking the DBMS, this one. So you will be knowing some DBMS concept. Why? Because you studied in the 5th semester. Same thing if they are going to ask some electronics questions, all those things you are unable to answer. Why? Because you don't have any knowledge with respect to that particular case. That means that in the decision tree also we will be having a certain instances. We will be having a certain instances. Whenever we are going to calculate the instances, we will be looking with respect to whether you are going to get a sufficient knowledge or not. We will be checking this one. So decision trees are mostly to answer a relative binary simple decisions. We will be using predicting heart attack using the decision tree. In this particular case, they are going to make a survey. Okay, in this particular survey, what they are going to do, they will be taking the details with the patients. Okay, in that particular patient, those who got heart attack once, they are going to make a survey. So when the next heart attack will be occurring, that is nothing but next 30 days. For that, how the treatment should be given, how you are going to cure that particular patient. This is what some case study they have given in this particular case. For each patient, we will be having more than 100 variables we will be collecting, including demographics, medical history, lab data, all those things we will be using. Using the data and the CART algorithm, the decision trees we will be constructing. So in that particular case, the decision tree will be showing if the blood pressure was low, that is nothing but less than or equal to 90. If it is there, means the chance of the other heart attack will be very high. That is nothing but 70% you will be getting. If BP is okay for that particular patient, the next question we are going to arise is the patient age. If the patient age is low, that is less than or equal to 62, the patient survival will almost guaranteed. 98% you will be giving. If the age was higher, then the next question was about sinus problem we will be checking. If sinus is also okay, the chance of the survival was 89% we will be checking. So in that particular case, we will be dropping the decision tree and we are going to get a predict, that is 86.5% of the cases correct we will be getting. Decision tree problem, that is image a conversion between the doctor and the patient. The doctor asks a question to determine the cause of an element. There is a conversion between the doctor and the patient will be having. This is how the expert in the any field to solve the problem. This uses a decision trees or the decision rules. It will be able to create the separate branches for the further questioning. For each branch, how the expert will be proceeding. The process continues until the end of the tree is reached, which means a leaf node will be reached. Human expert will learn the past experience with respect to the data. Similarly, the machine can be trained with respect to the past data, and we are going to extract the knowledge of the rules from it. So this is how we are going to make a prediction with respect to the accuracy. For example, I'll give one real-time example. We have three vehicles. We have three motor vehicles we have. We will be tell them for the racing. We will be giving the racing for the particular three. What is the final conclusion we are going to get? Who is going to become first? That is nothing but with respect to the accuracy or with respect to the speed. For example, from source to destination, one particular guy he may take half an hour, one more guy he may take 20 minutes, one more take he may take 15 minutes. That 15 minutes what we are going to calculate is nothing but your accuracy. In this particular case also, how you are going to load the data, whatever the loaded data you are going to get, whether you are going to get an accurate knowledge with respect to that particular case, with the accurate decisions you are going to get, we will be checking each and everything. The more variables, the more variables the trees, the more training data, that is first we will be looking with respect to the accuracy and as well as the knowledge how they are going to take place. The next thing is the more variables the tree can choose from, the tree will become out with a better with an higher accuracy. Just like here how you are going to prepare for your examination, if you put more hard work you are going to get good marks, like that. So how much the whatever the variables we are going to consider in the data, how better it is working, that much of fast accuracy you will be getting. If no efforts and no hard work is there, you are going to get the result zero. That means that in this particular case also, how the variables you are going to choose, how the trees will be coming with the better with the higher accuracy. In addition, a good decision tree should also be frugal so that it takes a least number of the questions and a least number of amount to get the right decision. See, once you are going to complete your BE, you will be taking a decision. That means that whether you want to go for the job or whether you want to go for the higher studies or whether you want to start up a company or whether you become an entrepreneur. That means that in that particular decision what you're going to take, that is very important decision. So if one particular decision if is not proper means another 5 years or 10 years you will be lagging. That is what we will be doing in this particular data means we will be having the least number of questions with respect to the least number of efforts with respect to the right decision. That means that many times I told you that whenever you need to make the startup business, immediately you should not make a startup business. That means that you need to make a survey with respect to how whether whatever the business if I'm going to do, if whether I'm going to get the profit or not, you need to make a survey. After that you need to make the decision. That decision implements for the few more years, that will be survival for your growth. This is what one more example they have taken in this particular case, decision tree example exercise. One tennis, they want to play the tennis. To play the tennis they are going to check the atmospheric condition, just like the cricket match. If tomorrow is the cricket match is there, they are going to give the weather report today itself, whether tomorrow they are going to get the rain or not. If it is hot, definitely they are going to play the cricket match. If it is rain or windy, they will not get the match, will not be played. So in that particular case, whether you are going to play the match or not, we will be getting a prediction, either yes or whether it may be no. In this particular case also, they have taken an example for the tennis outdoor game. One outdoor game they have taken, that is nothing but tennis. So the objective is used to predict the play decision given by the atmospheric condition. The decision is should the game be allowed or not. Outlook is sunny, temp is nothing but hot, temperature is hot, humidity is normal, windy is true. These are the conditions they are given. They are going to check the play, whether you are going to play or not. To answer that particular question, one should look at the past experience to see what decision was made in the similar instances. So in that particular what database you are going to get with the past experience to find out the answer and how you are going to come across the answer. Just like the permutations and combination, various possible cases you are going to get. If there was a row for the sunny or the hot, normal, windy condition in the data table, we will be checking the prediction whether they are going to play the game or not. So whenever we are going to construct the tree, whenever we will be constructing the tree, so basic things to construct the tree is what we will be constructing the root node. We are going to construct the root node. Below the root node, what you are going to get? You may have left child or you may have right child, all those things you will be getting. You may get. So in the certain cases in which one of the following questions gives most insignificant about the situation, we will be finding the conditions and we are going to check whether it is working properly or not. We will be checking. The most important question should be one itself that makes a correct decision with the fewest error. Just like your programming, whenever you are going to write the programming, once you are going to complete your programming, you will be thinking that if the program is right, automatically you will be getting no errors. If the program, if you make some mistake, you may get 50 errors or you may get 40 errors or you may get 30 errors or you may get 1 errors. That means that whatever the programming you are going to write, we will be getting a conclusion in such a way that whether it has to execute the program or we need to get a least number of errors. You should not get 100 errors or 200 errors or 300 errors in the particular programming, all those things. So these are what the examples they have taken. I'll send you the videos also. You can go through the video with respect to the decision trees. Next is the regression. Regression is nothing but a mathematical concept in terms of statistical technique. So in this particular case, how we are going to design a model, how you will be predicting the relationship. That means that we will be considering the variables. Okay, by taking the variables, we will be telling that whether it is a dependent variable or whether it is an independent variable. See, one thing I want to tell you that whenever you are going to plot the graph, one variable will depend upon the other variable. For example, x may be depend on the y variable or y variable may be depending on the x variables. So in this particular case also, whenever we are going to form the relationship, we will be calculating the predicting. The objective is to find fitting curve for the dependent variable in a multidimensional space with each independent variables being a dimension. The curve could be a straight line or it could be a non-linear curve. So we will be plotting the quality of fit of the curve to the data. It can be measured with the coefficient of correlation, which is the square root of amount of variance explained in the curve. We will be having a few formulas and we will be arising the solutions. These are the simple steps how we are going to calculate the regression. First, we will be collecting all the variables for making the model. See, one thing I want to tell you that for the software development, whenever you are going to develop a software, you want the requirement, you want the design, you want the implementation, you want testing process, and finally you are going to deliver. That means that whenever you are going to create the products, whenever you are going to create the product, so we will be looking with respect to the certain requirements, all those things, with respect to the client, all those things. For example, if the client is telling advanced requirement, all those things, if is not giving the money, so it will become a problem. So many times I told you that your system is you have an high-end software, you have an high-end software. If the system is not supporting with respect to your laptop or the desktop, what you are going to do, you are going to configure or you need to buy the new configurations or which is supporting all those things. We will be taking and we will be performing the operation. Examining the visual relationship between the variables of an interest, so predict the dependent variable using the other variables. Correlations and the relationship. In this particular case, the statics relationships which the elements of the data hang together, which will be having the categorizing the variable. So in that particular case, we will be having a distinct and we will be having an unrelated variables, all those things. It is about describing the significant positive relationships and the significant negative differences you will be getting. So you are going to get two words here. One is a positive relationship and negative relationship. For example, in this particular case, we will be having a range from 0 to 1. We are going to calculate the values from 0 to 1. If you are going to get the value 0, that means that we are going to tell that there is no relationship between the variable. If you are going to get the value 1, that indicates a perfect relationship where the two variables will be having a perfect synchronization. The first and the foremost measure of the strength of the relationship is correlation. The strength of the correlation is a quantitative measure that is measured in a normalized range. I told you that we are going to get a range from 0 to 1 we will be getting.
The relationship can be positive or it can be an inverse relationship. So the variables can move together in the same directions or the opposite direction. So in this particular case also we will be giving a range, that is from -1 to +1 we will be giving. So if the value of an r1, if 1 the value, the whatever the values you are going to calculate with the variables, if it is 1 we are going to tell it is in the same direction. If it is -1 we used to tell with respect to the anti-clockwise, that is nothing but your opposite direction. So this is what the formula we will be taking correlationship and the relationship. Given two numerical variables x and y, the coefficient of the variable r is mathematically computed by the following equation. X bar is a mean of x, y bar is a mean of y. That nothing but r we will be giving. This is what the formula for the relationship between the correlation. So whenever we are going to plot the graph, these are the various possible cases we will be getting. That whatever the points you are going to get, that points it can lie in the same, or it may be far place, or it may be in the groups, or from one particular point will be in the this particular thing and one more will be the far different and one more. These are the various cases. That is nothing but it can be linear, it can be curved linear, no relationship you can have. These are the various possible cases you will be getting. Next is regression example. The regression model is described as a linear equation. So we will be checking y is the dependent variable, the variable being predicted x. X is nothing but the independent variable or the predictor variable. There could be a many predictor variables such as x1, x2 in the regression equation. However, there can be only one dependent variable in the regression equation, that is y is equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x plus epsilon. This indicates that y will be depending on your x value. This is what some values they have taken with respect to the house price. So what is the measurement you are going to get, square feet, all those things. If the square feet if you are going to get more means automatically the house price also will be increased. So this is what an example they are taken. So the next is cluster analysis. Cluster analysis is mainly used for the automatic identification of natural grouping of a things. See, one thing I want to tell you that whatever the operations you are going to do or whatever the work you are going to do, you need to do in terms of groups only. For example, now we are doing the project work. So 4 members, how many members? In a group 4 members. So each members you will be performing different operation. One you will be strong in the documentation, one you will be strong in the coding part, one you will be strong in the presentation part, like that. If only one person is handling all those things means it is become a difficult. So that particular case what we are going to do, we will be finding the identification of the natural grouping of a things. That means that whatever the operations you are going to get, that operations has to complete the task. The operations has to complete the task with a faster amount of time we will be looking. In this technique, the data instances that are similar are other categorized into the one cluster. So for example, I told you that you can nearby college, since SVC we will be taking as one centroid point. In the centroid point you may find nearby ATMs or nearby bakeries, all those things. So you will be forming one particular group which is nearer. If you go to the Vidyanagar cross also, you will be getting the ATM, you will be getting the banks. You are going to make one more group. Nearby your home also you are going to get the ATMs as well as bank. You are going to make one more group. That means that we will be checking which are nearer to the centroid point, which are far away from the centroid point. So if you have nearer to the centroid point means automatically whatever the result you are going to calculate, you are going to get the result faster accuracy with the more efficient you will be getting. So in that particular case, we will be having an unsupervised learning technique we will be using. There is no output or there is no dependent variable for which a right or wrong answers can be computed. A correct number of clusters or the definitions of the cluster is not known ahead of the time. It can suggest to the user how many clusters would make the sense for the characteristics of the data, all those things. This is what one particular group we will be getting. Some of the applications, if it is comes means market segmentation. So in that particular marketing, see, whenever you're going to make startup company means marketing is very important. If you're not done marketing means automatically you may be in the loss. That is nothing but you can make use of social medias, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, is there no unique. If you give more number of advertisement means more number of the customers or the user will be communicating to you with respect to the requirement, with respect to the product development, whatever it may be. If you are not making the promotion or if you are not making an advertisement, it will not reach to the people at all. If it is not reaching to the people, automatically whatever the product you are going to develop, it is less to be sold. Product portfolio. People of similar size can be grouped together to make a small, medium and the large size of clothing item. So we will be having various sizes here. So medium, like the t-shirt, you will be having small, medium, large size, all those things. So in this particular case also we will be grouping with respect to the data, how we are going to perform the operation. For example, one particular team I'm going to make the requirement team, and one more design team, and one more is nothing but development team, one more is the testing team, and one more is for the other things. So that means that that particular team will be concentrating the work on that particular case. Text mining. Clustering can help organize a given collection of the text document according to the content which is similar into the clusters of the related document. Clustering techniques. The cluster analysis is a machine learning techniques. So the quality of the clusters result, which mainly depends on the algorithms or the distance functions or the applications between the pair of an items. There are two major measures of the distance. There are two major measures of the distance. Euclidean distance you will be getting. So in this particular case, we will be checking that whether it is having a maximized or whether it is minimized. That means that intra-cluster. So intra-cluster means which are far away. Minimized. Minimized means we will be taking in intra-cluster. So for example, I told you that. So whatever the, if you will be constructing one centroid point, in that centroid point we will be looking which is the nearest neighboring you are going to get. Either it can be your hotels or it can be your ATMs, all those things. If you find easily, if you find by the nearby distance, the accuracy as well as efficient will be more. So this is what the pseudocode for the clustering. Pick an arbitrary number of groups or the segment to be created. Start with some initially randomly chosen center values for the group. Classify instances to the closest group. We are going to compute new values for the group entries, and we are going to repeat step 3 and 4. This is what we will be taking two variables here, x and y. We will be taking certain values. We will be grouping. First is 2, 4, 2, 6, like that. 2, 4, 2, 6, 5, 6. We will be forming. Next is we will be calculating in terms of k-means algorithm for the clustering techniques. Here is a pseudocode for implementing a k-means algorithm. So the k is nothing but number of clusters. D is the list of data points. Choose k, the number of random data points as the initial centroids we will be looking. Repeat till clusters. We are going to allocate each point. We will be allocating each point to the nearest centroids. We will be allocating. So repeat till cluster center stabilize. That is nothing but we are going to allocate each point in D to the nearest k centroids. We are going to compute the centroids for the cluster using all the points in the cluster. So this is what the advantages with respect to the k-means cluster. It is simple, easy to understand and easy to implement. Next, with respect to the efficient, based upon the number of how much data points you are going to specify, we will be checking which is a better algorithms we are going to check. When it comes to the disadvantages, the user needs to specify an initial value of k. That is nothing but your centroid value. The process for finding the cluster may not coverage. It is not suitable for discovering the clusters. So we will be forming. So the next is nothing but your artificial neural network. See, today I am going to discuss with respect to the fourth module. What I am going to do it now, no? Fourth module revision I am going to do. Tomorrow I am going to discuss with respect to the fifth module revision. So next coming week you will be having an IA Monday and Tuesday. So third IA. So that already the timetable has been shared to your group. So anyhow, this week I completed the portion, and last week I completed the portion. From this week we have started the revision from the module 1, module 2, module 3. So today we will be discussing the module 4 revision. Okay, and one more thing I want to tell you that all the materials are sent to you. You can see the previous year's question paper. You may find around 3 to 4 previous year's question paper you will be finding along with the textbook you study, because this is the last semester what you are going to write the examination. Just don't blindly study the previous year's question paper and you go. If that particular question is not coming, what you are going to do, that means read the from the textbook. Okay, try to study from the textbook and you make 130% you give preference to the question paper, 70% priority you give to the textbook. That means that whatever the questions is not there in the question paper, you should be able to answer previous year's question paper. Whatever the question they have not asked in this particular examination, you should be able to answer. How you are going to able to answer? Only by reading the textbooks only. So probably don't take any sun star scanners, all those things. Study from the textbook only. All the topics you study and go. And 30% you give concentration to your question paper questions. So artificial neural network. So in the artificial neural network is mainly used for what? Information processing model. So basically the human brain, which mainly consisted of billions of neurons, which will be linked from one part to the other. So basically we will be loading an input, we are going to process the operation and you are going to get an output. Next, with respect to the business applications of ANN, stock price prediction. See, if you know the stock market knowledge, today for example, let us consider Infosys or TCS or Wipro, whatever it may be. Today's share market, what you are going to get, tomorrow you will not get the same price. Today, if they are in the profit, tomorrow they will be in the loss. That means that it will become a too complication to understand that particular share market, all those things. It is mainly used for the character recognition, recognizing the handwritten text, recognizing the fingerprint. You will be using the fingerprint mobile phone. Most of the cases for the security purpose, you will be using the fingerprint. Because you will be having unique with respect to each person. So traditional classification problem with respect to the loan applications you may get, you will be having a various classification, that is X, W. These are the weights. Finally, for example, they have taken 4 data values, variables. So you may take any number of variables. Finally, all those things we are going to make the summation and we are going to process the operation. Once you are going to process the operation, you are going to get the result in the Y part. So each and everything it will be related. Developing an AIA. The steps required to build an AIA are as follows. First, we are going to gather the data. Gather is nothing but divide into training data and the test data. So we are going to select the network architecture, select the algorithms, that is multi-layer predictions, set network parameters, train the ANN with the training data, validate the model, freeze the weights, test the centroid accuracy. So this is how we will be splitting the operation. Once you are going to split the operation, once the operation has been completed, we are going to make the consolidation. So first is training set. We need to have 60, validation 20, testing set is nothing but 20. Finally, you are going to make k-fold cross validation. Whatever the operations we have divided, we are going to make the consolidation. ANN impose very little restrictions. So next, it will work faster and it can handle both numeric as well as categorical